Hi everyone, we are just waiting for more people to join and we'll start the session in a minute or two. A very good evening to all of you. I welcome you all to this live intro session of the Gut Health e-learning program. I am Karishma Surana, this side from Team WellCure, and I'm going to be moderating today's session. So before we begin this session, I would like to, talk about a few ground rules for it to ensure that the session progresses smoothly. I would request all of you to keep your microphones on mute and your mobile phones on silent. For any communication, we'll use the chat box. And you may want to, take notes of whatever topics you find useful. And I would request you to, please ask questions which are relevant to today's topic. So I think most of you know what WellCure is all about. You're familiar with it. But for all those who are new here today on our platform, so WellCure is a natural healing platform, and we have various health-related live workshops, many e-learning programs, and lots of recipes on our platforms, and health testimonials of people across different age groups with different health issues. So we have health testimonials of those people as well. And to know more about WellCure, you can definitely, check our website or download our app from App Store or Play Store. So quickly talking about the session format now. So in today's session, we'll be covering, we have our program expert with us, and we'll be covering, what is gut health and why it's a recent hype about gut health, and what is the importance of it, and how we can have a gut detox, how to actually fix unhealthy gut. And of course, in the end, we have an amazing special offer surprise for all of you. And you all can write your questions in the chat box, and we will take Q&A in the end. So I would now like to take that opportunity to introduce our program expert, Ms. Priyanka Jain, to all of you. So Priyanka is a plant-based nutrition and lifestyle coach. She is, a fitness enthusiast as well, who believes in refuse, reuse, reduce, recycle. And she also has a YouTube channel, and she aims to reach the masses and advocate the importance of, clean eating and natural lifestyle. She's also very much passionate about sustainable menstruation. So she is an entrepreneur, and she has a brand by the name Soch Green, and she provides a complete product landscape of eco-friendly period products. So it's an honor to have you with us, Priyanka, today. And thank you so much for joining us today. And over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you for having me and organizing this. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'll be really happy if you guys can have your videos on, because then I can also feel like I'm talking to live people. Not a compulsion, but if you can have them on, that'll be great. And so I'm going to straight away jump into the gut health introduction. We have a e-learning program, and here I'm just going to brief you about what all is covered in the e-learning program. And so today I'll briefly talk about what is gut health and why is it important for us to pay attention to it. Let me just get my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so before I get started, I'd like to know what is your impression of gut health? What do you think? What is gut health, and are your expectations from today's session or even the e-learning program that we have? So feel free to comment in the chat box. So someone's asked, what's my YouTube channel? It's by my name itself. Priyanka N. Jain is my channel. Someone's asking about fatty liver. Is gut health the root to all diseases? Leaky gut and fatty liver cure? Um, Technically, yes, gut health is actually linked to pretty much all health issues. Um, so if you can, and a lot of people actually say that all your health issues actually start from the gut. So a healthy gut would eventually mean good health, overall well-being. And diseases today, we are just giving names to whatever it is, leaky gut, or whether it's cancer, whether it's just indigestion, whether it's a fever. Like, these are the names we give to the symptoms. So based on what, or IBS, so based on what symptoms we see, because some disease will manifest on your skin, some will manifest on a particular organ, some will manifest, say, in your feet or your eye or your stomach or your intestines. So, those, based on where the disease is manifesting, that's where you see the symptom, and that's how we are naming the disease. But they all start within us, in our mind, and technically in our gut. So yes, if you can fix your gut health, all your health issues should be solved. But to be specific about IBS, definitely it's a gut health issue. Skin and hair, and even all hormonal issues. Someone's mentioned hypothyroidism and stuff. So all hormonal issues, all immune related issues, all mental health related issues are actually connected to the gut, and I'll briefly talk about it as well in the session. But so my question here was actually, what is gut health, and what is it that we understand? What do we mean by that? And if we look at the way we talk on a regular basis, we differentiate between our gut feelings and this area of the body, the stomach and intestines. We say my stomach hurts when the stomach hurts, and we don't say my gut hurts, because we know we're talking about the organ stomach. But when we are out for some important event, or say an exam or a date or a meeting, so we always talk in terms of, I have a gut feeling about it, and you say, oh, I have butterflies in my stomach, because you can't actually pinpoint, but there is something that we feel and we know that it's there. So your dictionary meaning of gut would actually mean your GI tract, or which is mainly all the hollow organs of our digestive system, like the starting from your windpipe or the esophagus and the stomach and the intestines, and going all the way to the anus. And then our digestive system also has some solid organs like the liver and the pancreas and the gallbladder. So this is our digestive system, where when we take in the food and it gets digested and becomes more absorbable by the body. So all the nutrients from the food are taken and given to the bloodstream and carried to the body. But but we know that when we talk about the gut, it's not just the digestive system. There is something more to it, and that's how we have those feelings of the gut feelings that we talk about. And until now, maybe until few years ago, say 20 to 30 years ago, we didn't have words to explain what is that and what is giving me those feelings and those kind of responses in the body. But in the last 20 to 30 years, there's been a lot of research. The medical community has done a lot of research, because they were coming to the point that, you know, there is something in our gut which is taking charge of our health. And so it was discovered that we have a lot of bacteria in our gut. And by bacteria, I mean single cell organisms. And of course, that's how the world actually started, you know, before humans or any insects or animals or trees, before any of these existed. The world started with single cell organisms, and they obviously still exist and they are everywhere. We cannot see them with naked eye, but they exist everywhere. Literally, they are on my body, they're on my skin, they're on my hands, my nose, my hair, in the air, in water, and they literally cover all surfaces around us, whether living or non-living objects. And they play a very important role in our environment and in our bodies as well. So, and there are a lot of good bacteria, there are a lot of bad bacteria as well within our body, and we need them both. It's just that they need to be in the right proportion. We need, say, around 80 to 85% of bacteria should be the good bacteria and the rest should be the bad bacteria. And they play important roles, as I've mentioned on the screen as well. So basically they help us against any pathogens, so basically any disease causing viruses and things like that that can attack us. So they save us from that. And you know, even something as simple as even coronavirus, you know, so why some people didn't get it, some got it. And it's all because how strong your immune system was, and which can again be linked to how strong and healthy your gut bacteria is, and what is the ratio of good versus bad bacteria. So if you have enough good bacteria, a small virus cannot really attack you. It's going to attack, but you know, your immune system will just save you with it. Another important role of gut bacteria is maintaining the lining in our intestines. So we have a very thin and a very delicate lining on in the insides of the intestines, and that basically you can call it like a protective layer. And because our whatever food we are eating today, most of it is not the ideal food for us, what the human body was designed for. So but we don't really have an option. We have inorganic foods, we have dirty water, and you know, we just have no option. We have to consume it, and in the end we have to be reliant on our bodies to be able to handle it. So the way our intestines are designed, they can handle all of it, but then if that lining gets ruined because of these toxins that we are taking, then you know, it gets punctured at various places, and now all those toxins through those punctures can leak inside the body. So it is very important to maintain that lining of the intestines. And even leaky gut issue that some of you mentioned in the chat is related to this only, that you know, our intestine is getting damaged, and that's how it starts to leak all the kinds of substances that are there in a food which are not suitable for us, start to leak in the body, which can further become like an autoimmune disorder, because the body does not recognize that food and starts to attack on its own. Then another important role of gut bacteria is basically, as I mentioned, that you know, we are not always eating foods that are natural for us. Like if we go back thousands and thousands of years, then for humans, the most suitable food was a fruit, and then the next option was vegetables or herbs. But then you know, agriculture started, and based on the requirements, humans started eating animals or processed foods, started growing grains like rice and wheat, and you know, we started eating all these things. So any food which is not digestible for us, it's very difficult for our human body cells to digest. So the bacteria actually helps in digesting those foods. And another important role of the bacteria is it trains our immune system. So as I mentioned that, you know, it's protecting us against a lot of pathogens. So it or actually our immune system and immune cells, a lot of our immune cells are located in the gut. So the bacteria actually trains those cells as well on how to fight with these pathogens and become a strong immune system. And they also play a very important role in gut brain axis. So I'll talk about that also later. So basically, when you're driving a car and every day you start your engine, the battery gets charged, and that's how you're able to use certain features of the car because of the battery there. But and you are giving it a little energy every day and to keep it charged, and that's how it keeps going. But there can come a day where just that amount of energy is not enough for the battery to start because you've misused it, and maybe you were not switching on the engine and just listening to music in the car or switched on the AC. So your battery is now tired, and it's asking for something more, that by just turning the key to the right is not enough to charge the battery, and that's when you need to jump start it. And so you get another external source of power and you give it that shock, and the battery comes back to life. So that's how is something similar with our bodies. um, Basically, the way God designed a human body is pretty amazing, and it's capable of doing so much and functioning very well without getting ill. We were not supposed to be so sick, or humans were supposed to live over 100 years still feeling very healthy and strong. That's how our bodies were designed. But we've been misusing them, whether knowingly or unknowingly, wanting or not wanting. Sometimes we are just forced because the environment now has changed. It's polluted, water is polluted, air is polluted, so we don't really have an option. And the body is getting misused, so our batteries are getting drained out much faster, at a much faster rate than they should have. So there will come a point when we are really really sick, and we are seeing those symptoms on our body, and we are feeling tired, or it's seeing on skin, or having some kind of a disease. So when we see those symptoms, that is when we know that the body is giving up, and we really need to clean it or do a good detox. So when you need to jumpstart your battery is when you see any of these health issues, like poor skin or hair health, excessive hair fall, or just a lot of acne, or acidity, bloating, indigestion, unexplained weight gain or weight loss, a lot of food sensitivity. You start to notice that whatever you eat doesn't suit you anymore, which even foods that you were able to digest earlier, 2 3 years ago, they don't suit you anymore, or you always feel tired and sleepy, and you're just confused that why am I so tired all the time. um, then you're not able to sleep properly, it's not a deep sleep, or you're falling asleep at 4 a.m. in the morning. Any hormonal issues, autoimmune diseases, mental health problems, antibiotic side effects. Like some people take an antibiotic, they're okay with it, but someone else taking the same antibiotic, same dose, sees much worse side effects of that. And the reason behind is that their immune system is now much weaker. So these are all signs that the body gives to us that it needs a detox, it needs a cleaning, it needs a time to clean itself. And so what does that mean is that you really need to fix your gut. And the gut comprises of these four important aspects. First is your immune cells. So like I was talking about the immune system, we have an immune system in the entire body, but a major chunk of the cells is present in our gut, of the immune cells. Then again, we have endocrine system, which is your various glands like the pituitary or the thyroid, or the ovaries and adrenal glands. So all of them together form your endocrine system. And if you put all these glands together into a lump, and you take all the endocrine cells that are present in our gut, then they will actually have more weightage. So if you have any hormonal health issue, you go for some tests or scans, and you're doing your thyroid or you're checking your ovaries. A lot of the time people come back and say, oh, my scans came out absolutely clear, but I have symptoms that feel like I have thyroid, but my thyroid was absolutely clean, all my test reports were fine. So another possible reason for that could be that, you have so many endocrine cells in the gut, and if your gut is not healthy, then your entire hormonal system is going to be messed up, and it will not show in any of your tests. Then another important aspect is the ENS, or the enteric nervous system. So basically, it's like a second brain in our gut. So there's a very strong connection with the brain and the ENS system, which lies in the gut, and they communicate with each other. And we'll be covering this later on. Um, and the fourth most important thing is the serotonin levels, the molecule. So basically, I'll just so basically it's helps with a lot of things in our body, which starts from contraction of intestines that controls the movement of food in our intestines, so basically controlling digestion. Then it controls your sleep cycles as well. It controls your mood. It controls how you think and remember and process. So it's obviously very important for our overall well-being, and it's a major component of antidepressants as well, because it's related to our mood and mood swings and the way we think. So for any mental health problem, again, gut health is of great importance. So here is a brief on the connection between the gut and the brain. So there is an two-way communication axis between our gut and the brain. So basically, whenever we are eating food, whatever goes in the stomach and the intestines, based on what we've eaten, some sensors are activated, and they get messages about the food that we've eaten, and whether it's healthy, whether there was some toxins and things like that. And that's how those messages are sent to the brain, and the whole digestion process takes place. And the immune system also decides that, what needs to be done with what has come to the body. And the other way around, with our five senses, the brain is always focusing on what's outside, because the brain can see, the eyes can see and send signal to the brain. Then your nose sends signals. All five senses, they send information to the brain, and all that information is also communicated to the gut. And that's how they both are connected with each other, and they remember these things. Like, even the gut has its own memory. So what your senses will see today is sent to the brain and to the gut. And that's how your gut reactions, the thing I was talking about, you have a gut feeling about something. So there are places where, say, you had a bad memory about that restaurant, and you go back there again, automatically you might feel nausea or diarrhea, or you might just not feel like eating anything at that place. So this is sort of a proof that, that because the senses did not have a good time there, they had sent that signal to the brain. But I am feeling nausea here in the same place. So, there is this connection between the gut and the brain. So it's just an example that, for example, you have an exam and you were scared about it. So when you have that fear and you have those expressions on your face of facial expressions and emotions of fear or being scared, then your stomach, it sort of tries to turn upside down, and it reduces its activity. So you will not feel hungry at that time, but feel nausea. Or your large intestines, they start to work more. So that's why some people actually get diarrheas before their exams, or some people feel nausea. So all these emotions are connected with the gut and your brain as well. So the famous saying is, you are what you eat. but I'd like to say you are what you eat, listen, touch, and smell. It's very important that for our own health we take charge of our senses. Basically, the way our body is designed is our all our senses make us look outwards. So of course, with our eyes we are looking outside, with the smell we are smelling what is outside of me. So all my five senses are literally taking me to the outside world, and my brain is following those senses and getting attracted to the outside world. But if I want to take charge of my health, then the solution is actually within. And so if you want good health, you want to make sure that your brain is stronger than your five senses, and it's not getting attracted to the outside world, but is able to look inside and understand that my human body has the capability to heal itself from the inside out. And that's why, I mean, I am always a big fan of meditations. And it's not just food but your entire lifestyle. If you can find peace within, and if you just know that the solution to your problem is within, not outside, you'll be able to fix any of your health issues. So just relying on food is also not a good idea. You should, because that will probably be the 50% of it. You need to eat clean. But if your mind is under control, and you can take charge and not follow your senses and be strong, then that's the other 50% that can help you heal yourself from within. So this whole hype on gut health is very recent, and by recent I mean maybe the last 10, 15 years. And before that, nobody talked about gut health. And so a lot of people tell me that, why are we talking about gut health now, and why are you saying, we should eat plant based, or we should eat raw foods, and we should eat fermented foods. My grandmom never worried about all these things, that is she eating salads or not, or having green juices or not. So the simple reason is that, automatically their diets were a lot cleaner, and of course their environment was a lot cleaner, and even the personal hygiene products that they used were a lot cleaner than what we use. They used to walk everywhere. There was not so much pollution. Then they didn't use soaps and shampoos loaded with the chemicals that we are using these days. The word antibacterial, they did not even exist, so they didn't have antibacterial soaps and sprays or sanitizers. So all these issues were not there, they didn't exist, and they automatically ate fermented foods. They just probably didn't realize that it's a probiotic. That's the word we are using today. But they were eating probiotics. And for example, all the vegetables were not available throughout the year, like it is right now. You can find any vegetable you want to eat all year round. There's nothing to worry about. Oh, what's the season and where is it from? You get whatever you want to eat. That was not the case few years ago with our grandparents. And so certain vegetables were only available in for a few months, and then they were available in abundance because for example, they just had too many mangoes, and mangoes were only available for 2 3 months, and they didn't know what to do with so many they can't eat, and they knew that they won't get this after 3 months. So they made mango pickles. And that's how it worked for a lot of other things, that they started preserving them because they were in abundance in their season, and they knew that it's not going to come back next after a few months. So they were actually eating probiotic food and pickles. It's just it wasn't termed. And since they were eating, and since their environment was not always sanitized, so they generally had a lot of good bacteria in their body and also in their environment. Now especially after corona, we are using sanitizers on literally everything. I know people who are sanitizing their packets of breads. And so we have gone into extremes of sanitizing everything. So it is actually killing a lot of good bacteria in our environment as well as our body. So we have to take an extra effort to eat these probiotic foods that are rich in good bacteria. And that's how we'll be able to restore the balance of good versus bad bacteria in our body. So when we are talking about good and bad bacteria, so basically you'll always have bacteria in the body. It's not that that you were eating wrong food, so all the bacteria died. It's just that certain foods are good for the good bacteria, certain are good for bad bacteria. So just depending on what you are eating, if it was the food for good bacteria, you will have more good bacteria in your body, and if it was the food for bad bacteria, then the ratio of bad bacteria will keep on increasing. And this is a vicious cycle because for example, white sugar, it's a food for bad bacteria. So if today you eat something with white sugar in it, and so bad bacteria is going to feed on it and it will grow in number. So now when they start to grow in number more than what you should have in your body, then you will definitely crave for the food that the bad bacteria wants. So now you will want more sugar. You'll literally be craving for white sugar. Until the time you don't eat it, you won't be satisfied. So now you get into that cycle. You will keep eating more sugar and the more bad bacteria, again, more cravings. So that is the cycle you get into. And so white sugar is just one example. All of these points that I've listed on the screen, they all promote bad bacteria in your body. And somewhere we have to stop and tell ourselves and control our cravings, start eating clean. So slowly all these issues can be handled. And I'll just name a few, like any processed or junk food, and a food that's not fresh, stale food, over fermented foods, and caffeine, alcohol, antiseptics, then antibiotics. They also kill your good bacteria. And things like C-section births, and even birth in a hospital, because now hospital is a sanitized environment. Years ago, kids were just born in the houses and it was not a sanitized environment, so they were born in an environment which was full of good bacteria. But now when kids are born in a hospital, they miss out on that as well, because it's a sanitized environment. So they do at birth itself have a lot less bacteria, a good bacteria, as compared to what some a child would have had being born in a home 1,000 years ago. So gut health is covered in a lot more detail in the e-learning program. We would be talking about how to fix your gut in terms of food and lifestyle. Like I said, I give equal focus to lifestyle and food. For me, it's 50-50. Just eating a clean diet is not going to help, because we have messed it up big time. So we need to work really hard to fix our gut. And so the e-learning program will have some lifestyle suggestions also that you can make and to fix your gut. The program also explains food combining. So basically, for a good gut, it's very important that we follow good food combining. Some people don't even know that something like this exists. And we eat literally anything whenever we feel like. Even within one meal, we are eating five, six different things. Then we don't know the concept of what should be eaten first and what should be eaten after. So all this depends on the digestion times. So in the program, I have covered in detail on what goes well with which other foods and which two things should not be eaten together, and what should be eaten first and what should be eaten after. I've also explained a little bit about the gaps between, for example, you should eat fruit first on an empty stomach. So, but some people have their lunch and immediately after having the meal, they eat a fruit as a dessert. So that's not a good habit. So all these things have been explained in the program about food combining, and also the timings, what should be eaten when. Then a lot of people do have issues with raw foods, that people tell me that certain fruits, when they eat a fruit first thing in the morning, they feel acidity. So That's absolutely wrong. It should not happen. If that's happening, it's a very clear sign that your gut needs a detox. And but the point is that again they say that, well, I am stuck that raw foods don't suit me, and you're telling me that for a healthy gut I should eat raw foods. So I have also explained how to improve digestibility of those raw foods, how to reintroduce them in your daily diet, so they will not cause a lot of acidity. And when you slowly introduce them, then the body gets heals itself on those, and then gets better and gets used to it, and then slowly you can increase the amount of raw foods in your diet, which will further improve your gut health. Then I have also covered pre and probiotics in the program, and also given recipes for those. There are a lot of probiotics available now. You can definitely go for some ready-made options like sauerkraut and pickles. There's definitely not a problem. You can just buy them and use them. But I wanted to share some recipes that are easy to make at home. So we've covered a few recipes of probiotics that you can make at home and have them on a daily basis. But it's not a compulsion. Again, you want to buy, just make sure that you're buying from a reliable source, and it does not have any preservatives. Sometimes people make pickles, they just add some vinegar and preservatives, and they're selling them as pickles, but then that's not really a probiotic. You need to buy sauerkrauts and pickles that have been naturally fermented. So make sure you check all these ingredients. You speak to the person you are buying from. These days there are a lot of organic farmers markets, and a lot of startups who are doing naturally fermented drinks and pickles. So just check before buying, and they are a great source of probiotics as well. There are probiotic supplements also, but I'm not a big fan of supplements, and I feel there is no need when you can get them from natural food. So why not get them from the right source? Apart from that, the program has a 7 days probiotic meal plan. So basically, it's a 7 days meal plan, but you can, for me, that's my lifestyle. I have been following something similar for now around 3 years. So, the 7 days is to give you an idea that what kind of um, meals you can have. And after that you can feel free to make it less strict if you want to, but you can continue it for the rest of your life as well. And towards the end of the program I have explained that if you can carry on these 7 day meal plan for the rest of your life, that's great. But for whatever reason you think it's too much of a change for you, then I have also explained what kind of changes you can make to the meal plan, and still make it healthy. And because this one has very less cooked food, so I've explained what sort of changes can be done and to make it more sustainable for longer or for the rest of your life. And as I mentioned, we've given some probiotic recipes and some other healthy recipes also of oil free cooked meals. So I'll be sharing the list of recipes soon as well. um, Karishma, can you open your slide?
Yes. Can you just click on stop sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share it. Is it visible?
Yeah. Yeah, so the program has 14 video lessons, um, more depth on what is gut health and how to fix it. Then there are 8 healthy recipe videos that will show a few probiotics and some oil-free cooked meals. Then there's a lifestyle guide on what kind of diet and daily activities you need to do to improve your gut health. There is Q&A support. If you have any questions, you can always comment, and I check them frequently and I'll get back to you on the e-learning platform itself. The meal plan and you have two downloadable ebooks. The one with meal plans and your diet and lifestyle suggestions. The other one with the detailed recipes of a lot of the entire meal plan, basically whatever meals you need to have on every single day. All those recipes are given there, and you will have 1 year access to the course along with the certificate of participation. And can we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay, just a question popped up since I've seen it. Yes, the ebooks are written by me, the recipes are mine, and a few recipes are from the Wellcure website, but most of them are my personal recipes. So here are the course details which I have covered. I'll just quickly read a few points again. So introduction to gut health, how to fix it, whatever has gone wrong, food combining, raw food digestibility. We have talked about juices versus blending because I do have given green juices in your meal plan, and a lot of the time people have questions around, oh, can I make it in a blender or can I make it in a juicer? So all that has also been explained. What is the difference between juice and blending and having a smoothie? Then we've talked about raw foods and healthy fats because your entire meal plan in this is oil free. So we will be including oils through nuts and seeds, which are much healthier and in their raw form rather than consuming processed oils. There is a section about dairy because the first time we did this session, I got a lot of questions on why no dairy, why no ghee, or what if I get my ghee or dairy from an ethical gaushala and things like that. So all those questions are also covered in this. Then we've also given details on how much probiotic to consume and how to consume apart from the recipes. And here is a list of few of the recipes, recipe videos that are shared is the almond yogurt, then millet kanji, then a few salad dressings, then pumpkin curry, which is oil free, and dal tadka. And there will be a biryani recipe as well. So almond yogurt recipe that I've shared here is actually it's a really nice yogurt. I quite like the taste and texture, and that's why I shared that particular recipe in this program. But feel free to check my YouTube channel for a few other yogurt recipes that are a lot easier to make. This one, the almond yogurt that I've showed here, is a little technical and a slightly difficult to make recipe. You can make peanut yogurt, chickpea yogurt, and all those recipes are there on my YouTube channel. They are a lot easier, so just feel free to take a look at those as well. Taste wise, your plant-based yogurts, if you're not used to it, if you're not already a vegan and you're used to your dairy yogurts, taste-wise, you will find these very difficult to eat on their own. So the only solution is, and a very simple solution is just make something out of it, like a chas or a raita. Once, so any yogurt that you make, peanut, chickpea, almond, any of them that you make, once you add a little bit of lemon juice with some spices and herbs, it tastes exactly like your regular raita. Eating on its own, it obviously you can taste, peanuts or chickpeas, and a lot of people don't like that taste. So never eat it on its own if you are new to plant-based yogurt, but just make raita out of it or make curry out of it, make chas out of it. You can usually not tell the difference. Okay, I think that's it, right? Do you have any other slides?
Yes, maybe now I can talk about the course
you can.
offer.
Yeah.
Okay, so the gut health e-learning course which Priyanka talked about is actually priced at $15.99, but currently we are running an offer for you, which then the price comes down to $11.99. Also, the recipe ebook is for $250, but we are giving it complimentary along with the e-learning course. And the 7 days meal plan also, it's for $250, but that's also complimentary. So the total value of all the three comes down to 2,099, but you're getting all of this for just 1,199. This is the 7-day meal plan Heal Your Gut ebook, and then the gut health program recipes ebook, which will have all the recipes. Now you can scan this QR code and apply the coupon code GUT25 to, you will be redirected to the link where you can make the payment. And also if you want to GPay or Paytm, this is the number where you can make the payment, and just send a screenshot of your payment along with the name, email and phone number. And I'll share all these details along with the link in the chat box here also, and also in the WhatsApp group as well. So now I'll just keep this slide on for some time, and you can ask your questions in the chat box, and maybe we can take the questions now. I think we have so many questions.
Yeah, you can you read them out to me?
Yeah. Just a second. Actually, I've shared my screen. So. I don't know. I'm not able to click on chat option.
That's okay. I'll check. I can open. Okay, so someone's asking about eczema related to gut issues. See, the meal plan that I've given is generic, obviously, because it's a generic gut health program, not targeting any particular health issue. However, anybody who does this meal plan with any health issue will for sure feel better. But I would highly recommend that you share the meal plan with your doctor, and just check if you feel there was anything in there that you should not eat. Feel free to comment in the course when you take a look at the meal plan, and just mention that I'm not able to eat this because of so and so health issues, and I'll give you a supplement for it. And if after following the meal plan you feel better, but say you feel, oh, I have my health issues are 50% or 60% better, but I'm not 100% there, for something like that you will have to look into personal coaching, where I can actually guide you with a particular health issue. The meal plan would be different for that particular case, but feel free to do the program, and I'm sure that you'll probably feel much better on this meal plan on anyway. um, Looking to have energy. You will definitely have a lot more energy once you follow this meal plan. You can expect to see results even in just 1 week, but if you give it 3 to 4 weeks, you will be a different person. Like to know more natural ways in maintaining healthy gut. Is very important to maintain gut health, leaky gut, and its management. So I've already covered leaky gut. And yeah, so if you're talking about natural ways in maintaining healthy gut, this is what it is, like your diet, what you take, and a few lifestyle suggestions. So a lot of those lifestyle suggestions have been given in the e-learning program. And I have already mentioned here today that meditation and yoga are also a very good way to keep your mind in control, because apart from food, that is also a very important aspect of healing yourself naturally. So someone's mentioned heart blockage. Definitely all your blockages on a meal plan like this will literally just disappear in 3 4 weeks time. What if SGOT are high? I can't. I'm going through few food sensitivity. Yeah, so someone's talked about food sensitivities. Yes, that can be a sign of if you've not had that since birth, then and you've recently developed food sensitivities, then a cleaner, a healthier gut will help. So in that case, what I suggest is whatever foods you are sensitive to, you avoid them for some time and you follow this meal plan for at least 3 months. And after that, reintroduce that food in a small quantity. Say, for example, if apples don't suit you, so just after 3 months of following this meal plan, maybe have 2 slices of apple and see how the body responds. And then, if it's okay, then after another 3 weeks, you increase the quantity of, so from 2 slices you go to 4 slices, and slowly build up on it, and eventually you can get rid of those food sensitivities. So are pickles healthy? Yes, if they have been fermented naturally. Like I mentioned in the session, that sometimes people are just adding a lot of vinegars and preservatives in them, so that's not an healthy pickle, and you might as well not eat it rather than if that's the only option. So, and now you can do a lot of pickles, like oil free pickles you can make with the just a brine, like salt and water, and let it ferment. But pickles, as long as there's no preservatives in it and it's been fermented naturally, giving it its own time to turn into pickle rather than adding a vinegar to ferment it quickly, it's good and it's healthy. So go ahead and enjoy the pickles. How about idli and dosa? So basically, what happens in idli or dosa is that we ferment your rice and dal batter. It's fermented. So it's very good and healthy for our body. It's very easy to digest. So enjoy idli dosas as much as you want. But the only thing is that after fermentation, we cook the batter, right? We are steaming the idlis or we are cooking the dosa, so it's not a probiotic anymore, because as soon as you cook the fermented batter, all the bacteria will die in it. So it will not be considered as a probiotic, but still it's a very healthy meal. And as compared to rice, idli is a lot more healthy because since it's fermented, it's very easy for the body to digest. So your body spends a lot less energy in digesting. So feel free to have them as many times as you want. I have faced this post. So someone's asking about when you do a course of antibiotics, is there like a cleansing cycle? So yes, like of course we should avoid antibiotics as much as we can, but sometimes it's not possible and we have to do a course. So after that, depending on how many days you did the antibiotics, if say you did it for a week, then I would suggest that do a very clean detox. So same, the meal plan that I've given, you can follow that. If you can go a bit more rigorous, then just after your antibiotics course, you can do fasting on green juices, so just, or even fruit juice is fine. Just do fasting on juices and fruits for as many days as you can, from anywhere between 3 to 7 days. So that will give a very faster result. And so do the juice and fruit fast for 3 to 7 days, and after that you can continue with this meal plan, and again as many days as you want and as many days as you can. Bad breath and tongue coating related to gut health? Yes, it can be. And just try the meal plan and you will. What happens is when you follow a detox plan like this, um, the first week it really depends on person to person and what issue you have and how old the issue is. So sometimes what happens is that when you switch to such a clean diet, the body is going to detox. So things like acne or bad breath or body odor, these things can actually get worse also. But don't worry about that. That will just have its own phase of a few days to a few weeks. but it's just because all the toxins inside the body are coming out because you're eating more raw foods and fruits and raw salads. They all have this ability to push out toxins from the body. So, and that's another reason why I really recommend doing enemas or tona, and it's given in the e-learning program of details on how to do it. Is because when you are detoxing and eating clean, if you take an enema every day, then all your toxins will come out in the toilet and not through your skin and giving you acne or body odor and things like that. So it's a good idea to do that every day. And issues like bad breath and tongue coating will definitely get better on this meal plan. So there are questions on what should be eaten on some specific health issues, and as I said, it's not possible to cover that here. That is something that will get covered on a personal one-on-one coaching, not on a platform like this, because that would involve me getting to know your lifestyle and issues in more detail, and that's how I can suggest what can be eaten for what issues. But having said that, if you just take this meal plan, you will definitely feel a lot better. And with time, you will be able to see yourself also which food was suiting you more than others, and you can modify it accordingly. Scared to eat raw vegetables when organic is not available. So when that's the case, you can wash your vegetables in vinegar water, and that should help. And honestly speaking, cooking in organic is probably worse than eating raw. Like when I'm traveling and I don't have access to organic vegetables, doesn't mean I'll start eating more cooked, because chemicals are there in raw as well as cooked food. It's just that when you are cooking it, doesn't mean it's killing those toxic chemicals. It's just changing their chemical composition. Maybe it's making it worse. Who knows? The chemicals will still be there even if you've cooked the food, and the body just has to deal with it. So don't think in terms of I have to eat raw, inorganic. No, don't think like that. You just think in terms of raw and cooked, and raw is always better than cooked, whether it's organic or inorganic. Of course, if you can get organic, that's better, but doesn't mean that you cooked inorganic food, so all the chemicals disappeared. No, they are still there in the food. So don't worry about that and enjoy your raw vegetables. If you can, wash them in your vinegar water solution, and that should help. We have stomach pains with raw salads. So yes, I have explained this in detail. Like I said, raw food digestibility, how to improve and how to introduce. So you can find answers to these questions in the e-learning program. Do I recommend milk? I do not recommend animal milk. Dairy has been covered in the program in a lot of detail, but in a nutshell, animal milk is not meant for humans. We all know that human beings are the only species that are consuming milk from some other species, and we are the only species falling sick all the time. And other animals don't have all these issues. So, animals' milk is not for us. There are a lot of plant-based milk options, and you can rotate between all of them, starting from coconut milk, almond milk, sesame milk, ragi milk, jowar milk. I mean, you can make milk from any grain, you can make milk from any nuts or seeds, and including coconuts. You can make smoothies, you can make milkshakes. So there's absolutely no need to look for animal milk. Raw sprouts cause stomachache. So again, if you put a little bit in a salad and eat it, usually it's okay. But for yes, I can imagine for some people they do get give a lot of acidity and bloating. So you can lightly steam them if they don't suit you. Which is better, steaming or boiling? Steaming is definitely better. And because with boiling, a lot of firstly the temperature is different. When you're steaming, the food is getting cooked at a lower temperature, so it retains more nutrients. And with boiling, a lot of the nutrients actually just dissolve in the water in which the vegetables were boiled. So steaming definitely is better. Karishma, somebody is asking how to pay by credit card. Do you want to answer that question? Karishma?
Yeah, I've already shared the bank details and the alternate payment options in the chat box. So I've answered.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. YouTube link, please. Can you, is it possible for you to share my YouTube channel link?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, okay. Can we reverse severe leaky gut? Yes, you can reverse severe leaky gut. Again, I would recommend personal coaching, but you can start with the e-learning program and follow this meal plan for a few weeks or 2, 3 months and see how you feel. That might help. Next. Any specific dates for the workshop, or is it pre-recorded? Yes, it's pre-recorded. You can start any day and you will have access for 1 year. So you can do it at your own pace. Can we include fish with this diet? Well, this meal plan is totally plant-based, so it does not have any animal or dairy included in it. Can we buy the recipe ebook? It is included in the course, so you don't need to separately, you can't buy it. It's a part of the course. Detox juice can we use after breakfast? Juice should always be had on an empty stomach, so that should be ideally the first meal of your day. Can pre-diabetics eat fruits? Yes, definitely you can, but you just have to skip all the white sugars, and processed sugars. Even like if for pre-diabetics or diabetics, like processed sugar is bad, but if you follow a whole food plant-based diet plan, which is what we've given here, basically means nothing processed. So all your fruits are okay to have, and but you should not be having processed oils. You should not be having processed sugars. You should not be having processed flours like maida and even wheat. So millets are great. Millet rice are great for pre-diabetic or anybody actually. Are the Tetra Pak milks good for health? No, they're not, because they again have preservatives and they've been processed a lot. I would use them once in a while if I'm traveling and I need something, it's okay. But on a daily basis, definitely not. And it's not very difficult to make your milks at home. For a beginner, it looks like a task. Even when I had started this lifestyle, so making the milks was an issue, and I used to find it like a big huge task to do. But once you make it for 3, 4 times, you will actually realize it's so easy. All you need to do is soak the nuts and blend them. It takes less than a minute to soak nuts. And in case of coconut milk, you don't even need to soak, but you need to break the coconut, which is a little bit of a work. But after that, you just need to put it in the blender with water, blend it, and pass it through a cloth bag and squeeze the milk out. It's hardly 5, 10 minutes job. So, and it's delicious, and it's healthy. What's gone in there is just your nuts and water. So no to Tetra Packs. Will this help with acidity issues? Yes. Please share the meal plan once again. Well, meal plan is in the course itself. Can we take millets while having gut issues? Are millets not heavy to digest? You can definitely take millets with any sort of gut issues. They are complex carbs, but they're not heavy to digest. They just take they digest slowly. So any health issues, you can go for millets, not a problem. Only I think with people with thyroid should avoid bajra. Apart from that, I don't think there's any health issue and or problems with any millets. Millet rice is even healthier as compared to millet flour, because again, flour is a little processed. So if you can have millet dalias, millet pohas, they are great. And another thing with millets is, and it's covered in the program. Actually, I've given a recipe of how to make fermented water from the millet water, like the millet soaking water. So if you are eating millets, it's a very good idea to make that water into a probiotic and consume that. So the recipe and details of that are given in the program. You can take a look there. And I think with that, we've covered the questions.
Yeah, and it's already 6:05, so I think we can wrap this up now.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for being patient and listening to me. And thanks, Karishma and Wellcure, for organizing this.
Yeah, thank you to you for such an insightful session. And I think this session would be, really like an eye opener for everybody. And thank you to everyone else as well for staying with us throughout from the beginning. And I hope that, you all will buy the course and you all will see a lot of difference in your health journeys. And anyways, we have the Q&A support along with the course. So, if you have any questions, you can always ask those questions and our expert will answer them as quick as possible. Also, the recording of this session for all those people who missed it, or for all those people who joined a bit late, the recording of this session will be shared on your mail IDs as well as in the WhatsApp group as well. And just wanted to inform this here again that this offer is valid only till 29th of October, where you are getting the e-learning course along with the complimentary ebook plus the 7-day meal plan. So maybe, you can buy this course quickly. And yes, that's about it from my end. Thank you so much, everybody, and have an amazing evening ahead. And thank you to Priyanka once again. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.